Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. It's a beautiful day. I'm not sure I'm going to cover all of the aspects that Lou introduced, but what I am going to try to do is talk to you a little differently than the last time I was here when Lou and the balcony brought me. I'm going to try to combine two things. One, give you some sense of the Port Authority, particularly focusing on downtown and the status of the World Trade Center site. But then take that economic development vision for downtown and what it means for, obviously, the laboring unions in this town. But then take that and put it in a larger perspective of what are we going to do with economic development? Where will we be with our infrastructure? What will be, and as I've said many times, the town that we choose to live in 30 years from now? Will we build the future that we want, that we know we need, based on the past experiences that have been successful? Will we have the capacity to replicate that history for the next 30 years? For 2010, we have a very, very robust capital plan, as you can see here. We are spending $3.1 billion. As you can see, the mandate for the Port Authority is defined these days by our expenditures downtown. The World Trade Center site, for all the right reasons in the world, is getting built, and it's fortunately expensive. But as you can see, the broad array of the Port Authority's capital capacity remains. This capital plan is a regional driver, without a doubt. Historically, the Port Authority's role as a regional economic engine has been clear, and it remains clear, and we are confident with the capacity that we have created. This type of job creation is really going to continue. 58,000 jobs is a critical part of the overall dynamic economic function that the Port Authority provides. But so where are we with downtown? I take enormous pride in being able to show you these slides. June 19th, 2009, this was downtown a year ago. Here it is today. As you can see, the memorial pools have really taken form. The granite, the black granite, is up in the northern pool. One World Trade is 26, 27 stories. We are at the standard floor that you all know so well in construction, where every floor is the same and you can start to hit a momentum there. 4 World Trade on the right-hand side is Larry Silverstein's property. I'm pleased that we were able to complete an agreement with Mr. Silverstein that the lawyers are now finalizing, which brings the final piece to downtown in place for the development of the East Bathtub. So downtown is today in a completely different position than it was in 2 years ago. And at the center of that was the notion that the memorial, the Sacred Heart of the site, needed to be restored for the 10-year anniversary. And we are working literally every day to achieve that goal, and we are cautiously optimistic that we will achieve that goal. And the world will gather on the 10-year anniversary. President Obama will be here, the G7, and the world will look and see how far we've come and how downtown has in fact been restored. The Trade Center site is incredible. For me, just going down there every day is a revelation. This is One World Trade, and I think about what characterizes and validates the turnaround is a couple of things that have happened. One, as many of you know, we are about to select an equity partner to become an actual developer for us. The related companies, Steve Ross and Douglas Durst Company, who built the great tower at Bryant Park, are competing, literally putting their equity into this building, not for the purposes of delaying the financial capacity that the Port Authority has to do it, but rather really to put in enough skin in the game so when they actually run the building, they're looking for a rate of return that the private sector demands. But this is a 3 million square foot building. I was just in Europe for a 2-week tour marketing this building. And until you go across the pond and start to talk about this building, you really can't imagine the size and breadth of what this tower will be. This is 3 million square feet. This is taller. Put it this way, the entire country of the Netherlands, its total absorption rate, its vacancy rate is not 3 million square feet in 2 years. This is a single tower. And Douglas Durst and Steve Ross are related, want to be a part of this building, and we think that's an incredible validation of what this structure will be for downtown. Similarly, as you've seen, companies like Condé Nast It's been published in the paper that we are talking to them to take space downtown. So this will be a very unique building occurring within a market that is really being realized in a way that I think 2 years ago nobody thought possible. Here's some really wonderful photographs of the memorial pools. You can see the granite surrounding the site. This will be, each one of these pools will be the largest waterfall built in the United States. We will have 2 of them. And they will be a place of quiet contemplation, at the same time a thing of real beauty. The Calatrava steel, that signature architectural design, you can see taking shape below grade. The chiller plant, I'm always amazed by the technology that's associated with building this project. You walk around and you're down in the absolute bottom floor of the memorial, and you see that someone has actually figured out where to cut the electrical outlet plug, where the janitor who's going to be vacuuming the floor is going to plug that plug in. That's getting designed. And this is the chiller plant, which will be driving and chilling 1.8 million square feet of public space. It is a real piece of machinery. So downtown is really moving forward, and we are working on it every single day. But we're not limited, and we shouldn't be limited, and you shouldn't think of the Port Authority solely in terms of downtown. You saw our capital capacity. One project that we're extremely proud of now, and I think really demonstrates the breadth and capacity of the Port Authority, is our Bay 1 runway project. This, as Lou said, if you're nervous about flying, avert your eyes. This is the takeoff and landing pattern on a single day out of our regional airports. This is, if you think congestion's bad on the highway, I have the privilege of driving down to Philadelphia on the New Jersey Turnpike later today. That will be crowded, but you can see what our airspace is struggling with. This nation is stuck in the 1940s in terms of technology associated with how we regulate our airspace and maximize our airspace for economic development purposes. It's a 1940s radar-based system tracking planes with outdated technology. Is that helping? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is that okay for the video? No, we need.
That's helping. A lot of people didn't like this tie configuration, so we turned out the lights. But seriously, I was just talking about the fact that we are running our airspace on 1940s radar technology, and that's really just unacceptable. And the Port Authority has launched, this is like the light show on the Limelight, flashbacks here. We're working closely with our federal representatives in Washington to advance NextGen, which is really a very simple concept when you think about it. It's that GPS system that you have probably in your car, but writ large across the country for our airspace. With NextGen, we can track planes closer, we can maximize safety, but at the same time, we can make more out of that airspace that you just saw behind me. And that is, I think, probably from an aviation perspective, the single most important initiative that the federal government must take on. The FAA recognizes it. They are balking at the size and breadth of it. But if we don't start now, we will not have a national highway system for the air. But at the same time, there are things that the Port Authority needed to do at Kennedy Airport, and this is the Bay Runway project. The Bay Runway is the largest, longest runway at Kennedy, and is the largest runway in the United States, so long that it can literally handle the shuttle for landing. But it had reached the end of its useful life, and we needed to move from outdated technology for what the runway was to modern, sustainable technology. But to think about that, we had to close the runway and build it in a set period of time so the airlines would be able to reroute their planes and handle the potential loss of that capacity. And we built this project on time and on budget, and we'll be announcing its opening later next week. And it's interesting when we did this project, because I'm always struck by, when does an idea become an idea? When do you finally, the light bulb go off? So here we were having to build the new runway. We recognized that. It was simply outdated. It was causing delays for the airport. And in doing that, we had to work with all the airlines. And we found that there was a system that we had for snow emergencies, the days when the blizzards would hit. We were literally using almost tabletop software to communicate with the airplanes that were seeking to take off so that they wouldn't get stuck on the runway and get snowed in.